and welcome to another episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. Our guest in this episode is someone who has been playing a lead role in homegrown OEM Mahindra and Mahindra's transition from being a maker of basic utility vehicles to a maker of urban SUVs, and now he's in charge of businesses ranging from two-wheelers to tractors to heavy trucks and buses. I'm talking about none other than Dr. Pawan Goenka, Executive Director, Mahindra and Mahindra. Dr. Goenka, thank you for your time.
Nice to talk to you.
A wide variety of roles you play, lots to talk. So let's start off with the latest, TUV 300. For the Scorpio, the responsibility for the Scorpio was the transition of the image. For the XUV 500, it was a big bet of sorts because that kind of premium positioning from an Indian OEM first time. What is the expectation, what's the responsibility that the TUV 300 carries from your perspective?
Well, TUV 300 basically is our entry into the compact SUV segment. And we have taken a route different than what most other manufacturers have taken to come into the compact SUV segment. What we have said to ourselves is that we are a SUV specialist, and therefore we need to ensure that we maintain the purity of SUVs in some of our models. Of course, we cannot say that all our SUVs will be pure chassis based SUVs, but in some of the models we must maintain that. And we also did some customer research to understand what the customers are looking for. And while there are a lot of people who are excited about the crossover kind of monocoque based vehicle, but there is a fairly large number of customers who would like to have a modern looking with all the modern gadget technology features, but a true SUV kind of design which has a chassis base and a SUV styling and a crossover styling. And that's the segment that we are looking at with TUV 300. Where we are in the compact SUV segment, the sub 4 meter. At the same time, we are with chassis based thing, and the styling is very much like what we call true blue SUV styling.
One would also argue that Mahindra, being a player, such a strong player in the SUV segment, this emerging SUV, the compact SUV segment, has been a late entrant of sorts. There's a lot of catch up to do before you kind of have a leadership position there. So why this delay, and how do you plan to kind of catch up?
Well, we have talked about that in the past, that yes, indeed, the whole thrust on compact UVs came perhaps a year before what we had anticipated when we started developing that, and therefore our products are coming this year. Two of them, as you are aware, the TUV 300 just launched, and S101 coming later in the year. And these two products kind of bring us again in the thick of it with about 6 different SUVs to offer. Unlike most other OEMs who are not specialists in SUVs and playing in a wider sort of passenger car range, since we are specialists in SUV, we do not have one size fits all SUV offering. We have different SUVs for different price points, different needs in SUVs, and that's what we intend to do with S101, Bolero, TUV 300, with Xylo, Scorpio, and XUV. So we have fairly wide range, and then to top it all, Rexton from SsangYong stable.
And in the compact SUV segment, do you plan to replace the Quanto maybe, because with the S101 and TUV kind of playing their roles?
Yeah, so TUV 300 becomes a compact UV space in a major way. The Quanto, in fact, frankly, was the first entrant in the industry in the compact UV space, but it didn't hit off as well as we thought it would. And therefore, Quanto has its own sort of a different offering in terms of the styling features that we are offering there, and therefore we don't intend to take it out. Though the bigger volume will be coming from TUV 300, and Quanto will continue to have a niche presence in that segment, and we do intend to keep that on.
Like we have observed in any segment in the automotive industry, if you're not the first mover, the product by the second or the third player has to have some really compelling offerings to the consumer. In this case, TUV, we have seen you talk about safety, or you are going to offer an AMT. What are the kind of USPs that you think would be those compelling?
See, today the segments in many ways are getting into micro definitions of each segment having its own uniqueness. So while one can say that in a compact UV segment we are not the first entrant, but if you were to look at what TUV 300 has, I don't think it's directly comparable to any other compact UV, and to that extent we are the first entrant in a chassis based SUV styled compact UV. So I'm not aware of any other direct competition from that viewpoint. What we have tried to bring into this compact SUV that we have launched with TUV 300 are many features that go beyond what are currently on offer in certainly in chassis based SUVs and in many other monocoque based SUV. For example, AMT you mentioned, this is the first SUV of any sort of prefix SUV which has AMT in it, and we are very happy with the way the AMT has come out and the way it drives and everything. We have also worked very hard on safety, and safety has been sort of getting a lot of attention in the last year and a half in India. Government of India also is pursuing safety very aggressively. The new norms have been announced, and we have tried to bring all the safety features into this product, in fact ahead of the new norms by 2 years, and in fact we wouldn't have had to meet them for 4 years. And we have brought in those norms meeting here in this thing. Also, we have looked at the new star rating that has been proposed. It's not yet announced, and therefore we cannot claim any kind of stars because it's not announced yet. But from whatever is in the draft right now, we are meeting in some variants the highest rating that is there for the star rating also. So we are very pleased with the kind of safety that we have brought in into this product. Other thing that we have done, which is something that we had committed more than a year ago, is that even our lowest variant has an option of airbags and ABS, and therefore customer does not have to spend a lot of money to go to the highest end to get airbag and variant. If you just want safety and not have to get all the other gizmos that come, then one can only spend 35,000 rupees and get the safety features in the vehicle. Okay. So even our lowest variant T4, which comes with T4 Plus at a 35,000 rupees price premium, you can get the dual airbag and ABS.
So talking about safety, you're saying that some variant of TUV would also meet the 5-star rating, is it?
Yeah, I cannot call 5-star yet because it's not yet notified, but from whatever is in the draft, yes, we are meeting that.
And so you have crash tested it and throw some light on, I mean the.
Yes, I think perhaps we are the only. This is the only vehicle in India today that can claim to have met the requirements of the BNV SAP. Even before the announcement has been made.
That's a very good move, in fact, and I think increasingly consumer are getting more and more aware. Even the lay consumer are getting more and more aware about safety, and I think this is a good move by.
Well, especially when you're going to call TUV 300 tough UV, and then we have to have this safety features. As it is, Mahindra vehicles are known for a very nice safety case, even without the features of safety airbags and ABS. And when we add the safety technology of airbag and ABS, it even makes it even say much more safer vehicle than otherwise.
And when you say about this is one part of the strategy of sustaining your position as a SUV specialist, how do you see this segment growing in the coming years?
By this segment, you mean SUV?
The compact SUV segment.
Compact SUV. So if you look at, first of all, if you go back 4 years, say 11, 12 to 14, 15, in this time frame, the share of SUVs in the passenger vehicles has gone up almost 5-6 percentage point, from about 17-18% share to about 22-23% share. So generally there is a move towards SUVs. But one could argue that what we call SUVs, are they really SUVs? Because the distinction between what was clearly SUVs and a clearly passenger car has become diluted, and they're kind of merging, right? And therefore many of the newer vehicles which are SUVs are styled like cars, which have a little bit higher ground clearance, some little bit more aggressiveness in styling, and somewhere along the line the difference starts getting very blurred. And since these are being counted as SUVs, the SUV segment is growing. The second trend is moving towards smaller SUVs, away from, not away from, but in addition to the XUVs size SUVs, and that compact SUV space certainly is growing. So even within the SUV segment, as we had talked about the UV1, UV2, the UV1, which is the compact SUV, is the one that is growing, and most of the in fact recent launches in this segment have been in the compact UV segment. So if you look at within the UV segment, clearly the share that will be taken by compact UVs as time progresses will be higher than the share taken by the traditional larger UVs.
Which is where your S101 will also play a key role. I mean, two launches in quick succession.
Yes, absolutely. So therefore, while we have made TUV to be the rugged chassis-based compact UV, S101 will be different. So I cannot imagine any customer comparing S101 to TUV 300.
Yes.
They will be two totally different vehicles.
Totally different profiles.
Totally different vehicles.
And also, if I'm not wrong, you'd also like to, because you do not have any plans to get into the car segment, you to cater to that audience. This will be also perhaps address maybe a hatchback or the hatchback customer. Is that?
Well, see, again, like I said, that the distinction between what we call SUV and what we call hatchback and what we call sedan and all that is getting blurred. When a customer is looking to buy a car, it's not necessarily I want to buy a hatchback, I want to buy a SUV. It's I want to buy a car at this price point.
Yes.
And in that price point, the customer would look at what are the offerings available, and they will straddle between a hatchback and a SUV, crossover SUV, and sometimes even between hatchback and sedan. If a sedan comes at a price point of hatchback, people may just want to buy a sedan. So therefore, it's more of a price point game for majority of buyers than whether it's a hatchback or a crossover compact UV. Some customers probably want a UV specifically. But for majority, it's a price point.
So you try to address that audience also.
We obviously. So see, one of the reasons that UVs are growing more rapidly, relatively speaking, is also that as you get into that price point, you are getting the benefit of what one would have from a UV of the stance, the higher riding, the feeling of having a macho vehicle. And at the same time, not have to compromise on price, not have to compromise on fuel efficiency, not have to compromise on turning circle radius, and so on and so forth. And that's the reason why EVs are becoming even more and more popular. But I would, as you would say, that like to like, a compact UV will cost more than hatchback, because it will have features that make it a crossover UV, larger tires, for example.
And what happens to your the small the car business? I mean, the Verito and the Verito Vibe. I mean, the platform is very robust, but do you plan to kind of utilize it?
Yeah, we have said it many times that is a singular sort of product for us. Just like the passenger car specialist will have one SUV in that portfolio, we as SUV specialists have one car in our portfolio. And we don't intend to grow our car portfolio. What we do with Verito will sort of evolve, but we don't intend to grow our car portfolio in terms of number of platforms that we have in cars.
Maybe something like a compact MPV maybe on that platform, because that's quite a. I mean, it had its strengths, right?
It has its strength, but keep in mind that it is not a Mahindra platform. It's a platform that we have licensed from Renault, and therefore there are limitations on what we can do with that platform.
With the moves in the compact SUV, it also marked Mahindra's entry into the petrol passenger vehicle segment. We have seen in the case of, say, Tata, when it entered into the passenger vehicle space, it had some challenges because it was well established as a commercial vehicle maker. In Mahindra's case, well established as a maker of diesel UVs, entering a petrol UV space, which also kind of straddles over the passenger car segment in terms of price positioning. How do you plan to tackle that challenge?
Well, for any mainstream manufacturer, one has to evolve as times change. It's clear that in India, one cannot count only on diesel vehicles anymore. There will be pressure to have more and more of non-diesel vehicles coming into our vehicles. I don't necessarily like or don't necessarily agree with the move of sort of downplaying diesel, because I think diesel is a very good fuel, and I'm very proud that Mahindra has very good diesel offerings. But at the same time, the reality is that there will be pressures to move away from diesel, and therefore we have a very robust strategy on how we will sort of gasolinized or petrolized, I don't know what the word will be, but how will we move into the petrol vehicles, gasoline vehicles in our for all our product offerings. Obviously not for the high-end commercial vehicles or larger commercial vehicles, but for the passenger vehicles. We are currently working on a series of petrol engines. Our partnership with SsangYong also is helpful in that, because SsangYong has a good product petrol portfolio since they export to many of the outside markets. So we are bringing out with S101 our first petrol engine, ground up development 1.2 liter petrol engine, and having driven the petrol vehicle right now, I don't think that I have any concern on how we will make our entry as a petrol vehicle or petrol engine manufacturer. The engine drives as well as any other engine in that size that you will have today. We are also working then on a larger 1.5 liter petrol engine for mid-size vehicles, and we already have a 2 liter petrol engine that we are not using in India, but we are exporting outside India. We also have access to SsangYong's 1.6 liter petrol engine and SsangYong's 2 liter petrol engine. So between the 1.2, the 1.5, 1.6 and the 2 of Mahindra and 2 of SsangYong, we are well covered. Okay. And therefore, in a few years from now, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, any vehicle that we launch in the passenger vehicle segment will have a diesel and a petrol option.